Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Wednesday. It's time for Come On Ref. I'm your host, Chad Bryan. I'm with Aidan Vance and Ben Bales. Fellas, how you doing today?
Pretty good.
I'm pretty good, feeling good, feeling great. How you feeling, Chadwick?
I'm feeling pretty good, man. We got some exciting stuff to talk about. I mean, it's NBA Finals time. We now know the matchup. Finally, that
Oh,
Eastern Conference Finals series is over. We know who's going to be playing. We'll get to that in a little bit. We're gonna revisit the block party. We talked about the block party last week. We're gonna find out that's still going on. And another thing, I learned this weekend that Scottie Pippen actually may have taught Michael Jordan how to play basketball, or at least team basketball. We're going to get to that later, too. We'll touch on that. But first, let's stop. We got to check in with the Cleveland Force, right? We're going to see what the Cleveland Force are doing. The women were in action. I believe that was last night. They lost 2-1 to the Flint City Bucks. You can see the goals there. They're going to have a little bit of time off, at least between now and their next home game. They're going to be back in action June 7th, I think it is. Wednesday, June 7th against AFC Ann Arbor, and that's going to be at DeSanto Field. Kickoff, as always. Well, not always, but as most of the time for those games is at 7 o'clock. The men won 5-0 this weekend, Memorial Day weekend. I hope you guys all had a great Memorial Day weekend, by the way. But yeah, the men took down the Dayton Dutch Lions this weekend, 5-0. I was there, in case you're wondering. If you watched the live stream and you got motion sickness, it's because I was operating the camera, so you can blame me for that. My man Cole Peretti, Ben, you know him from Brunswick, had a hat trick, man. I think something happened. The Dutch Lions woke him up in the second half a little bit.
Yeah, scoring on the 53rd, 74th, the 90th minute. Usually when you're up 2-0 in the second half, you just want to control possession and try and run the clock out. And like you said, I think he was a man on mission. I think they pissed him off.
A little bit, yeah, a little bit. They got a little chippy, but also I think that's a product of the Dutch Lions trying to get something going, and just
for sure.
Away from a little bit. The men will be back in action tonight. Actually, they play at DeSanto Field. They'll take on Kings Hammer FC. I feel like I need to say that in a very distinguished way, right? Like
Harry Potter.
You just say King's Hammer. You know what I mean? Like
Harry Potter.
Yes.
Yeah, that makes sense. I agree with you.
Right. Well, anyway, the Force are back in action tonight. I don't know what I'm talking about, but go check them out. DeSanto Field. You can always, head to their website and pick tickets up. You know it. You've seen it. We do it, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Let's get to the NBA Finals, guys. Let's talk about this because it finally happened. Listen, I was getting nervous, man. I put a graphic up on the show last week that said, the Celtics delay the inevitable. And then it went to Game 7. And I'm not going to lie, I was sweating a little bit, until, the Heat just jumped on them immediately and never let go. But here we are, Nuggets versus Heat. NBA Finals, the matchup is set. What do you guys think, man? Any thoughts on how these two teams got here?
Obviously for the Nuggets, it shows doing your work in the regular season matters.
Mm-hmm.
Playing the 8th seed, then the 4 or the 5, I believe, in the Phoenix Suns, then playing the 7th seed. Now you're playing the 8th seed. You're going to have home court advantage all throughout the playoffs. That's what you want. How Miami got here? By being dogs. Jimmy Butler, the first round, alpha the Milwaukee Bucks without Giannis.
Yeah.
You pretty much alpha the Knicks, too, at the end of the day. And then in the conference finals, you got guys stepping up, Duncan Robinson making shots, Max Strus making shots. Caleb Martin shot 44% from 3 in this postseason.
Yeah.
The last 2 games he went 21 and 15, and then 26 and 10 in the Game 7. So he's been playing ball, man. Just doing things he's never done before, really, off the dribble, off the catch and shoot. He shot it at 35% in the regular season. He shot it at 44% this playoff. So averaging 14 points up from 9 in the regular season. He's just been unbelievable.
Yeah.
Only Miami, it seems, finds guys like this that are undrafted. Find the Duncan Robinsons. You find the Max Struses somehow. It's unbelievable. And even Gabe Vincent averaged 17 points.
I saw a crazy stat. 54% of the Miami Heat's roster is undrafted.
It's unbelievable what they do.
And not to mention, too, this doesn't have anything to do with being undrafted, but Bam Adebayo has also gotten better every time he's been in the playoffs. He's gotten just a little bit better each year. So, they just seem to develop really well. I don't know.
Fun fact, every year Kevin Love's made the playoffs, he's made it to the NBA Finals.
Yeah.
That's crazy, right?
That's pretty good when you get traded as team in the East with LeBron. And then, I don't know. And then this team, Jimmy Butler just decided to be the best player in the Eastern Conference in the playoffs, obviously.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's saying that Kevin Love isn't getting dragged along to a certain extent, but I mean, I don't think anyone thinks he's the absolute catalyst. But it's still, hey, it's a cool thing to have on your resume, right?
It's awesome, no doubt. I mean, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
People forgot what he was doing in Minnesota, 20 games.
Yeah, he was a dog.
He was unbelievable. So, not saying that at all. Just saying, circumstance matters.
It does. I agree with you. I completely agree with you.
But Bam, one of the probably 3 or 4 best defenders in the NBA from a switching standpoint, from protecting the rim to rebounding to doing it all. I mean, he's one of the best defenders in the NBA, along with Jimmy Butler as a wing. They're just special defensively with those two out there. Gabe Vincent defends his position well. Caleb Martin defended Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum really well in this playoff series. So
really well.
They did a lot of things really well against the Celtics. Obviously, they went up 3-0. You have to. So it was great to see.
Yeah. And that's why I think I've said it all along. I think the Heat were the better matchup for the Nuggets. I think this will be a better series than, if the Celtics had pulled out that Game 7. It's simply for the defense. I think, like you said, Bam Adebayo, one of the best defenders in the league. Plus, he's big. He's got a big body. That may help against Jokic. I mean, listen, Jokic is going to get his, right? I mean, he's going to put up numbers. We know that. It's just really about, how much he can get everybody else involved. And I think with them, Jimmy Butler and Adebayo being able to move and switch a little bit on defense, I think that limits that to a certain extent. We'll get to our predictions later, but I just don't know how much the Heat are really going to be able to do to stop the Nuggets. They might be able to slow them down, but
if you can,
Ben, what do you think, man?
Personally, I feel like if you can kind of contain the 2-ball game they played against the Lakers with Murray and Jokic, they have a better chance. But if you get that 2-ball game going, or that 2-man ball game like they did against the Lakers, I don't think the Heat stand a chance.
Especially if you have to start sinking down and they're hitting shots. I mean, it can get out of hand really quickly. So saw that a little bit. Yeah, I mean, it can get out of hand. I mean, you saw what happened to the Lakers. But so I want to ask you this. Like, we always look at the matchup. I mean, let's kind of get into it a little bit more. I want to talk about, like, which team has the advantage. And first, I mean, just the overall advantage. I mean, I think it's obvious, at least on paper anyway. Aidan, I mean, let's ask the question this way. How much of an advantage do the Nuggets have?
They're the best player in the world. I mean, a guy that averaged 30 points shooting 50, 40, 90 in the Eastern Conference Finals is their second best player. One of the best, most versatile defenders in Aaron Gordon, one of the best cutters. KCP, a 3-and-D wing. Michael Porter Jr., flamethrower at 6'10". It's just the advantage is substantial.
It is.
It's very substantial. I mean, it's really hard to deal with that. I don't know who Miami's going to start. I'm guessing they're going to go Caleb Martin instead of Kevin Love, if I had to guess, in this series.
Yeah, I would.
To switch more with Jamal Murray in those kind of situations. You have Jimmy Butler, Caleb Martin, even Gabe Vincent get some minutes on him. So we'll see. But the advantage is substantial. They're easily. I mean, they're the 1 seed for a reason. And the Miami Heat, I know they made this run, but they were the 8th seed for a reason. They pushed to try to go get the 6th seed, and they couldn't get there. So, the advantage is substantial, and they're just a better team.
Yeah,
straight up, they're just a better team with the best.
Yeah, listen. I mean, here's the thing: all that cutting and moving without the ball, that doesn't slump. I mean, you may miss shots, but they seem to they're just a machine. I don't know how else to say it. They're a buzzsaw right now. So I don't know, if the Heat are going to have an answer for that. I mean, Ben, what do you think? I mean, what can they do?
To be honest, like Aidan said, I mean, Nuggets have arguably the best player in the world.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not arguably, he is the best player in the world.
Yeah.
But obviously,
well, it's arguable. I think it's arguable. I mean, I think you could make a case for Giannis or maybe even, well, not Embiid, even though he won the MVP.
It's just Giannis.
It's just Giannis, I think.
Yeah.
But I think, like I said, I think if the Heat can play decent defense, I don't think they win it. But I mean, I think they still may be a game or two. But I just think the Nuggets are too good to, like Aidan said, Nuggets have too many weapons to. Yeah. And then you can only stop so many.
My biggest thing for Miami is you got to take some away, and I don't think you can let Jokic play passing out of double teams and out of zone and stuff like that. I think you have to try to take away Jamal Murray and the others
Yeah.
and just allow Jokic to do his thing because he's going to win that matchup with Bam. As good as Bam is, it's not going to matter. But you got to take away everybody else.
Yeah,
So how
but
they
I
do
think it's
that?
going to physically wear him down for the series, though. I think it's going to, I think that could be one of the toughest physical matchups he's seen.
I feel like I feel like the longer the series goes, the better the chance that he'd have. I don't think this series ends in 4 or 5. If the Heat are going to win, it's going to be in 7. If the Nuggets are going to win, it's going to be in probably 4 or 5.
Okay.
I kind of disagree with that for one reason, really, is because Miami's role players are playing so much above their pay grade, right? They're playing at a different level than they've ever played in their lives. Mostly the Denver Nuggets role players have just played the same.
Yeah.
So, and the Denver Nuggets role players are better, so that gives them the higher ceiling while having the higher floor, what makes it harder to beat them in any situation.
Listen, Miami's going to have to be perfect.
Yeah,
I think 4 times to win 4 games in this series. At least really close to perfect. And I don't know. I mean, basketball, it's such a game of runs. I just don't know that you can be that perfect for 4 games in a series against a team like Denver. But I want to try to find one area. I want to do some comparisons between the teams. Let's find one area where Miami has the advantage. I think this one at least is obvious to me. Who has the advantage in head coach? I mean, Michael Malone versus Eric Spoelstra. Aidan, what do you think?
Oh, it's Eric Spoelstra. It's not that. I mean, Michael Malone's a good coach. Eric Spoelstra is just the best coach in the NBA by a good margin.
Yeah.
With all the stuff he does, with the switching, with the zone, getting players open, getting players to play the way they are as undrafted players, right? I mean, the offense they run a lot of DHOs, which is dribble handoffs, with Bam to Max Struess's who can off movement shoot the ball, or Duncan Robinson's, creating easy backdoors for them also because the center's out on Bam. Get a lot of switches against Jimmy. And then they just do different stuff on defense that teams don't see. Eric Spoelstra is a special coach. He's probably one of the top 15 coaches ever, maybe. I mean, he was voted that way in the top 75 players ever. So he's special, man. And Michael Malone is a good coach. It's easier to be a good coach when you have the best player in the world who is a basketball genius. Yeah. And a bunch of smart players around you, right? But I'm not here to take anything away from Michael Malone because he's a really good coach. What do you think?
Yeah. I think it's close, but I think the track record's there for Spoelstra. I mean, Ben, what do you think?
Like Aidan said, obviously, Spoelstra, he's arguably one of the greatest coaches ever. He's, obviously, being the first team to ever be an 8 seed and make it to the finals. You got to give him credit for that. Like I said, 54% of his roster is undrafted, and they're competing for an NBA championship. Like Aidan said, Michael Malone's good, but when you have the greatest player in the world, it makes your job a whole lot easier.
Yeah. And listen, I get it. Giannis was hurt in the first round. That probably propelled the Heat to where they are. Sure. But still, you don't get through, all the prevailing rounds without a coach like Eric Spoelstra. Does anybody in the NBA do more with less?
No. He's the best at it. He's always been the best at it.
I'm not trying to say the Heat are, inadequate, but compared to this Nuggets roster, and even compared to some of the rosters they ran right through in the Eastern Conference,
no doubt.
They didn't have it.
This isn't the first time he's done this. In the bubble, he took that Miami Heat team to the finals. Yeah. That proved to be not really a fluke because that Heat team went to 2 more Eastern Conference finals and now another final. So
here they are.
He's been able to do that multiple times with the kind of the same head honchos, I'd say, with Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo, and you build from around that. Duncan Robinson's on the team still. Max Strus is still on the team. So the guys like that, he's just done so much with those guys. And obviously Jimmy Butler's a different player in the playoffs than he is in the regular season. He goes into a different mode, more attacking.
You love to see it, man.
Getting matchups. But there's a lot of things that Jimmy Butler's still not great at. He's not a great 3-point shooter.
No.
And they build around that with all these shooters and all these plays for Bam coming out of high ball screens, catching. It's called a short roll where he catches at the free throw line, can make plays from there. So he's done amazing. Eric Spoelstra's that guy as a coach.
Yeah, there, like you said, plenty of technical things, that I think Jimmy Butler's not necessarily great at. But I don't know if anybody in the NBA has more dog in him than Jimmy Butler. I'd love to see it, man. Oh man, hold on. Cody Jello says that's why Joel Embiid needs to get to Miami. Oh man, like having Shaq back in the day. Listen, and Spoelstra, I was gonna say this too. Okay. He says if Jimmy Butler somehow carries the Heat to a ring, he's easily a top 3 player in the franchise's history. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, no doubt.
I think so. I
would agree with them, no doubt.
Yeah, I think that. And listen, I was gonna say Spoelstra even managed to win with those bums, LeBron James and Dwayne Wade, right? Like,
yeah, and Chris Bosh.
How do you get that done?
Two of those guys.
Aiden, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
How big of an impact would Tyler Hero make if he was healthy?
So it depends how good Jimmy Butler's playing and how hobbled he is with the ankle.
Okay.
Because if he is himself and can be a high 38 to 40% usage guy in these playoffs where it's like, hey, give me the ball, get this switch, I'm going to go to work. If they double, I'll make a pass out to a shooter or I'll make a lob to Bam. That changes it because then you don't have to use Tyler as much and you can put more defense on the court.
Yeah.
Because Tyler's not a good defender. He's a guy who can get picked on.
Yeah.
But if Jimmy isn't scoring like that and can't, create for everybody else, then Tyler becomes big because then he can come off the dribble. He can create his own shot, off pick and rolls with Bam.
Yeah.
Okay, in a drop versus Nikola, I can get into my mid-range game. I can get into a walk into a 3 off the dribble. So it changes things.
Yeah.
But if Jimmy's himself and this version of Caleb Martin that we saw in the Eastern Conference Finals is ready to play again, and Gabe Vincent's averaging 17 now, he hurt his ankle. But if these guys are all playing the way they've been playing this entire playoffs, it does more to hurt them defensively than it does to help them offensively.
Yeah. Hey, quick before we move on, Hoodie Jello wants to give some credit to Haywood Highsmith too, man, for having.
Haywood Highsmith is a dog. Yeah, he comes in, gets a few minutes, picks Jason Tatum's pocket, runs down, hits a layup.
I forgot about that dude.
Just the unsung heroes sometimes, man.
Just a Miami Heat guy. They talk about Heat culture all the time, and people call it corny and everything, and it probably is a little bit, but you can't say it's not real. So
yeah.
Listen, if it works, it works, right?
Yes, sir.
Highsmith, Hoodie, I love it. Hoodie Joe says he's what Jetty should be for the Cavs.
Jetty can't move like that. He's just not.
I think he's what the Cavs wanted Jetty to be.
Yeah, he's just laterally not athletic like that. It's okay.
So let's compare some more. We got to get to who has the better starting lineup? Again, I think this is pretty obvious. But Aidan, thoughts?
Why you make me do this to the Heat, man?
It's the Heat, right?
It's the Nuggets. They have the best player in the world.
Yeah.
All right, let's go down the list. Okay, best player versus best player. You're taking Nikola over Jimmy. Second best player versus second best player. Maybe you take Bam over Jamal. That's a decent argument.
Okay.
Third best player is probably Gabe Vincent versus either Michael Porter Jr. or Aaron Gordon. Yeah. That's not good.
There's starting to be a gap now. I
mean, it just starts getting worse and worse. I mean, KCP would be the third or fourth best player on this team. He's the fifth best starter. It's just hard. It's really hard.
You guys don't think 97-year-old Kevin Love is better than anyone?
No, I don't think Kevin Love can guard me at this point. So
he's better than 100-year-old Kevin Love.
No doubt about that.
I mean, we got to find the positive somewhere, right?
Yeah.
So we talked a little bit about it. Highsmith coming off the bench, giving a shot in the arm, whatever. So who has the better supporting cast? Is this the Nuggets or the Heat? Ben, you go first this time. What do you think?
Personally, I still think it's probably the Nuggets. But,
yeah.
I mean, how much are you really going to need them with Jokic, is, going to go out there and, give you 40 a night? I mean.
Well, but we've seen them do that. We've seen Jokic put up 40 or 50 and the Nuggets lose, I
mean, obviously you still need that supporting cast to, play well. Yeah. But I think it's, like Aidan said, the Nuggets supporting cast, their role players, have a higher ceiling, and therefore they're better in general. So, if one of their, Heat role players has an off night, it's kind of like it derails their entire momentum, whereas the Nuggets, if one of them has an off night, the other one just picks it up and they're perfectly fine.
Seems like that. Aidan, what do you think? You agree with that?
I agree with that as a complete supporting cast around Jokic versus Jimmy. If we're talking about bench, Denver really only goes 7 deep with Jeff Green and Bruce Brown, who are really good bench guys. Bruce Brown is, connector, makes the passes, can drive it, can dribble, can run some two-man game with Jokic. But from a bench standpoint, I think I would maybe lean the Heat if this thing happens that they bring Tyler Hero off the bench.
Okay.
Now that would change some things.
Is he playing?
He's rumored to be coming back game 3. So you bring Tyler Hero back off the bench maybe, or you bring Caleb Martin off the bench, which still is really good with Duncan Robinson and guys like that off the bench with, Highsmith. So you look at that and it's a little more even, but I still might give the bench edge to the Nuggets, but it's a lot closer if you look at it that way instead of just supporting cast overall.
I just want to say something. If the Heat can get to game 3, tied at 1-1, and Tyler Hero comes back, I think that could maybe be a changing point in the series. Because if you go back, if you're down 2-0 and Tyler Hero comes back, then it's like you have to play perfect. But if he comes back and you're 1-1, and obviously you still have to play perfect, but like Aidan said, he gives that better chance because he can go out there and he can get his own bucket when, if Butler isn't playing well.
Yeah. But
I think the difference there, if he comes back when they're down 2-0, you all of a sudden you feel the pressure to quickly, get him back in and
no doubt.
inundated in the lineup. If it's 1-1, you don't feel that pressure as much as like, hey, we're getting Tyler Hero back. Like, it feels different. I agree.
You can send him out there and show him, feel himself, get a shot, put a couple shots and, get the shot going. And then, even if you lose the game, you go into game 3 with him thinking, okay, I can still shoot this. Let's go make a run.
And you still feel really good about coming back from Denver 1-1. I mean, regardless, if you lose that game 3, I agree with that. I wouldn't have agreed with that before you said it, but now that you put it out there, I do agree.
My biggest thing with Tyler Hero is who does he guard? Because can't guard Jamal Murray, can't guard Michael Porter Jr. Aaron Gordon will put him in the rim. KCP moves too much off ball and cuts around Jokic too much. So who does he defend? And how do they hide him, right? It all depends on how they can move him around and be a chess piece to keep him out of stuff. See, that's why I think he should come off the bench. Because,
I'm not saying he should start. I think he should come off the bench.
For sure. I'm just trying to.
I get what you're saying, but like you said, because if he's hot, you're going to leave him out there. But then that comes to your point of how you can hide him on defense.
Right. So when Bruce Brown and Jeff Green comes in, maybe you can hide him off ball on Jeff Green because he doesn't move much, just stands in the corner.
Yeah.
Just say, got to really work hard boxing out. That's about it. So, but starting him would put him in a bad position.
No, I agree. I think the Heat should bring him off the bench because, like you said, if you start him, then you have to worry about hiding him, for 30 to 40 minutes a game. Whereas if you bring him off the bench, you only got to worry about maybe 20 to 30 minutes, where that's more doable than hiding him for 40 minutes.
Yeah.
No doubt.
That's an intriguing matchup because, like you said, we got Eric Spoelstra with, the track record. I mean, obviously the ability to coach guys up and to get guys in the right position, to get guys in the right situation. So, if anybody can do it, I think Eric Spoelstra can figure it out.
No doubt.
Right. So I want to kind of move on because I think this could be a big factor in this series too, while we're talking about who has the advantage in certain areas. Who's got the best home crowd?
How about you go first this one, Chadwick?
You want me to go first? I think it's Denver, man. I think Miami is one of those cities for me, and I get it. They obviously they love the Heat. Somebody likes the Marlins. I don't know who it is because no one goes to games. I went to school with a kid that liked the Dolphins once. Remember Dan Marino? I just feel like Miami's like one of those it's like a transient sports city, right? It's where you go to I don't know, stick it to your old team and avoid sales tax or whatever. I don't know, man. I'm not really sure what it is. I just feel like Denver is going to be really, really wild. I feel like those games at home for Denver are going to be crazy. It's, they're trying to win their first title. I don't know. I just feel like, I don't know. I feel like it's Denver.
Go ahead, Ben.
That's why I said I feel like, if Tyler Hero does come back in game 3 and the Heat can steal one in Denver, like you said, with it being completely bonkers, if you can come back to Miami, because Miami's going to show up for the finals, obviously.
Sure. They
might not be as crazy, but like I said, if you can get back,
they might leave early.
Yeah, but if you can get back to Miami tied 1-1, and you get your best shooter back in Tyler Hero, like I said, I think that could make a difference in the series. But like I said, if it's 2-0 and you get completely blown out in Denver both games, I don't think it matters. I don't think it matters if there's one fan in the stands in Miami or if it's sold out.
Yeah. And it kind of worries me with the fans, just that, how many people are from Miami that are going to go to these games? Because the people that are from Miami, how many of those people even if they can, are going to want to pay for some of these finals tickets, right? I mean, it's just going to be so massively overpriced.
Yeah.
And you're just asking these people to pay a month of rent or something to go to a game, right? While the people that live now in Miami that aren't from Miami will just be like, oh, that's nothing to me. I'll go to that game. But they're not really invested in it like a true Miami Heat fan would be. So it could be a little different. We'll see.
Right.
But
And you saw the comment. Yeah, you saw the comment from Essence up on the screen. I mean, it's Denver's, first potential championship since they were an ABA team, and I think their fans are just going to be so rabid for this series.
That place is going to be ridiculous. So
it's going to be a loud place. So we talked about it. I think we kind of answered this next question, but I mean, which city is the better sports city? I think it's pretty obvious again, right?
I think I go Denver. But I think I just hate. I don't want to hate on Miami. I think it's Denver.
No. That's not the point of this. I just know more people that are that are Broncos fans or I don't know. I just, like I said, Miami's kind of a transient sports city. It's not. Yeah. It's weird to me. It's just one of those cities,
There's so much more stuff to do in Miami. You come to Miami for more different reasons than just sports. Denver, you go to Denver for a couple things. You either go snowboarding,
skiing,
sports, and like one other thing that I don't mention on a sports show, right? So and that's fine, but you're going there for a few reasons, and you're going there to really see the best. A lot of people that live in Denver probably are from Denver, right, or from Colorado at the end of the day. So, I've heard Denver's an awesome city, and I really want to go there, but you have to just look at take it for what it is. A lot of people travel to Miami for different stuff, high profile people.
Yeah.
Or people want to celebrate their birthday for a week, right? So you never know what you're really going to get in Miami. Denver, I'm pretty sure you know what you're going to get.
Going back to like you said, like people go to Miami. Like you said, going back to what you said about how many Miami people are actually going to show up to the game. Mm-hmm. There's people that travel to Miami, they might, be like, hey, we're going to Miami. We might as well go to the finals, get a big group of people and all pitch in and buy tickets. Like, I mean, I know if I was going to Miami with a group of like 5, 6, 7 buddies, I'd be like, why not? Let's pitch in and get some tickets, go to a game, even if it's in the nosebleeds. Let's go to a finals game. Why not? Yeah.
And then you've got a pocket of you guys that aren't rabid Heat fans, that are taking up some, and that's what I mean. Yeah, I just don't know if it's it. And listen, in regards to the to a lot to do in Denver, I think you were referring to the fact that they're the mile high city.
Yeah,
right?
Mile high. It's up, and they're high.
They're up there. They're high. They're high. It's up there.
I want to touch on that really quick.
Yeah.
That could also be a game changer in the series because the Nuggets players are used to it.
Yes.
And then you got the Heat coming in there, and they don't play Denver.
No doubt.
It's hard to breathe. It's hard to breathe in that elevation. Yeah.
The altitude will affect it for sure. No doubt.
Like you said, depending on what Jimmy Butler's ankle is, we know that last finals he was in. He played nearly 48 minutes every game. So if that's going to be the thing again, he might be dead by the time you get to Game 4. And
I've heard the medication in Denver is good for Jimmy Butler's ankle, so he'll be all right. I think.
Hopefully he's not dead. No. I don't know if his ankle's that serious. Yeah, I don't know.
If he plays as much as he did in the Bubbles final, by the time he gets Game 4, he could be completely exhausted.
Everybody's hurt at this point. You got to play.
You got 7 games left at the most,
Jimmy
right?
Butler's
14 days left of the season.
No, I'm
right?
I'm not saying Butler's not going to play. I'm just saying that with how hard he goes,
and how much he relies on pure athleticism, it's going to be tough with an ankle.
How much his body can hold.
Like I said, the longer the series goes, that's what I'm saying. Like if you get to a Game 7 and you let those Heat players get adjusted to the altitude, I think they could. It could be, but I'm saying if they get blown out in Games 1 and 2 in Denver,
for sure.
I don't think it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be a quick series.
No doubt about it.
You're right. I think you're right. So let's start over. I think we've mentioned, a lot about what each team, kind of has done so far. Let's say this thing's over, all right? The Heat have won it, right? How did it happen? Why can the Heat win this series? I guess is what I'm saying.
So a couple reasons. Caleb Martin continued being the player he was in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Okay.
Gabe Vincent continued being the player he was this whole playoff run, right?
Yeah.
Jimmy Butler kind of goes back to that first round. I know he's been good in other rounds, but first round where he's averaging 30, 35 a game. and you walk away from the series saying that Bam Adebayo is the best defensive player in the world, that's how they win the series. If they don't, then I just don't see a way that they do. Obviously, they have the toughest road to winning the finals with the less talented team and playing the best player in the world. But there's ways they can do it. It's just gonna have to be down and dirty. I mean, it's gonna have to be a slugfest. It's just gonna have to be a rock fight at the end of the day.
Even if they, like you said, even if they get Tyler Hero back too, like he's got to come in and perform. Like he's coming in, and if you're bringing him off the bench and he's shooting 0 of 6, 0 of 9, at that point you might as well just be like, we're better off without him.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think, while I'm thinking about this now, you mentioned Tyler Hero, do you think there's any advanced thought to not bringing him back for game 1 or 2 in that altitude? You know what I mean?
Yes.
Maybe he's.
Because
personally for me, I think you bring him back to Miami where that's his home gym.
Yeah.
He's put up some crazy numbers there. Whereas if you throw him in the game, in Denver, he hasn't played since round 1.
Yeah.
Probably hasn't been conditioning much. So you throw him
out
there.
I was gonna say he's already gonna struggle to get his legs under him, and then you put him in Denver, and
And he'll be gassed by the end of the first quarter, and
the good thing about breaking a hand is you can still run.
Yeah.
But the thing with the NBA obviously is there's nothing like playing a basketball game, especially as high intensity as the finals is going to be. So his conditioning is not going to be ready for that. There's nothing to prepare your body for playing basketball like that, except for playing basketball in that intense moment. So you're just going to have to get your wind back as you go into the series, and hopefully it lasts long enough for you to fully feel like yourself again, right? He might come out shooting hot early on, just getting his feet back, and he's like,
he's going to hit a plateau for sure.
Nerves. Boom, boom. Right. He hits his first few, and then he runs up and down the court a few more times, and then and then the next 4 shots are short. So you just have to see what happens, but he'll be fine. It all just depends on how long it takes him to get his wind back, but I don't think it'll take super long. Obviously, these dudes are some of the best athletes in the world. So.
For sure.
Like I said, I don't think you want to rush him back in Denver because of the altitude. Like I said, you play him games 1 and 2. Say you play him 10 minutes in game 1 or in game 3 in Miami and 14 in game 2 or 15. Then you go back to Denver. You could play him 10 in Denver, and then by the time if you get to that far, if you get to a game 6 or 7, then you can rely on him, to play, his full amount of minutes off the bench because he's more acclimated.
Yeah. Yeah, I think 15, 20 minutes is a realistic, goal for playing time for him. I don't think he's going to come out and play 40 minutes. You know what I mean? I don't think that's going to happen.
Like
in any game in the series. So.
Yeah, I don't think you start him. Now, if you do bring him back, now there's a flip side to it, because if you do bring him back games 1 and 2, then he'll be more conditioned for games 3 and 4, and you might get more production from him.
Or he could completely bottom out for games 3 and 4. I don't know. You know what I mean?
He could. But like I said, if it was me, I'm resting him. But that's just me. But I'm not there.
Well, the thing that I always forget the thing that these guys have the advantage over me. I'm thinking about me like trying to get ready for playing like a rec league basketball league. They've got doctors, they've got training staff. He's going to be getting IVs. He's going to get fluids. He'll get oxygen. They've got everything. They're going to take care of him, obviously. But I still think that could be a factor. So let's move over to the Nuggets. I think again, I feel like we're banging on Miami here, but why can the Nuggets win the series?
Nikola Jokic.
Better team, best player in the world.
Yep.
Home court advantage.
Yep.
Enough said.
Yeah.
That's it.
A whole lot of aspects to their game that, like I said, just don't slump.
Yeah, it's just pretty simple for the Nuggets.
Did I mention Nikola Jokic?
Play good basketball.
I think he might be a factor.
Yeah. Play good basketball. You're the better team. You'll win. That's all it comes down to. You have the best player in the world. If things get tough, give him the ball and settle things down.
We saw some of the crazy shots he made against the Lakers.
So, Jamal Murray, same way. Tough shot maker.
Yeah.
So there's just nothing. I feel so bad. I don't want to say it like this, but it is really simple for the Nuggets.
Yeah.
Show up every game with intensity, win. That's it.
Yeah.
The Nuggets have everything to lose. The Heat have nothing to lose. That's where the Nuggets could get caught. That's where the Nuggets could get caught and end up losing the series because they have nothing. Yeah. Because The Heat have nothing to lose.
Yeah, and is there any pressure from the Nuggets side to,
Yeah.
like I said, that you're taking down this Heat team that like all of a sudden this franchise is like a playoff juggernaut. Like they just get there. They're there every year. And I
Yeah.
mean, maybe there's something to be said for that. I mean, maybe there's a quiet confidence that even though some of these guys weren't involved in some of those runs, I mean, sometimes that can be contagious too. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see what happens,
Yeah,
but it's just
We will see.
It's just tough, man.
We will see. So now that we've talked about all this, I want to go in order. We'll go, alphabetical as always. Aidan first. I want to give our official Come On Ref NBA Finals predictions. Aidan, what do you got?
So here's my thing. I've been thinking about this for a little while. What makes Miami so different from the Lakers in this series? Your alpha being Jimmy Butler, their alpha being LeBron, your second best player being a defensive juggernaut, and Bam, their second best player being a defensive juggernaut, and Anthony Davis.
Yeah.
You got role players like Reeves who can score it, Dennis Schroeder who can score it, Rui Hachimura off the bench who can score it.
This is starting to look bad for Miami right now.
What makes it so different? But
Their coach.
I will make the argument that Darvin Ham versus Eric Spoelstra is a huge difference. So that being said, I'm going to do it in the nicest way possible, and I really want to say in 5, but I will say Nuggets in 6 to be safe.
Okay. Ben?
I think I'm gonna go with Aidan. Probably Nuggets in 6.
Okay.
But Nuggets in 6, but there's a deep down I want it to be Heat in 7. But
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be Nuggets in 6.
Yeah, I mean it would be, extremely entertaining to see a game 7, I think, between these two teams. I don't think that's gonna happen. I'm gonna say it. I think it's gonna be the Nuggets in 5.
Yeah.
I don't
think
think
they're
they're gonna win in
going
5.
to man.
See, now what would be crazy is if the Heat come out and sweep the Nuggets. The whole basketball world would go absolutely bonkers.
I would bet my livelihood.
Oh, no, I don't think it happens, but I'm just saying, could you imagine if it does?
I can't. I can't imagine that because there's just no way in hell that happens.
Listen, if the Heat honestly, okay, here it is. If the Heat beat the Nuggets in this finals, I will do the next show in a Halloween costume of your guys' choice. How about that?
Oh, my God.
I will do the entire show in whatever costume you tell me to wear. I will, if the Heat beat the Nuggets. That's how confident I am.
See, now Aiden wants it to happen.
Oh,
Hey, give you a little bit of rooting interest, right?
I know.
Oh, that could be really fun. Now I kind of want the Heat to win.
We're about to see a picture of Aiden in Miami, like yelling at Miami. What are you doing?
Hey, listen, we'll start to see tomorrow night. Game 1 is tomorrow night. It's 8:30 on ABC. It'll be on ESPN Plus, ESPN Deportes, however you want to watch it. It'll be covered. I mean, we're gonna find out. It starts tomorrow, so we'll see. Here we go, game 1, right?
Without it.
Let's do a little housekeeping while we're done with the finals, right? We had a block party last week, and sometimes, it's you struggle to clean up after the block party, right? The party's fun, but then the days after, the week after is kind of rough.
The hangover.
Yeah, the hangover. Right. Is the block party still going on, man?
No.
Here's the thing. I don't think it's officially over yet. Like, obviously, like I said, like I watch golf almost every weekend, some sort of golf. And if you look at his round, he just had a bunch of bad breaks. Like, they weren't like the one shot, he hits the ball and, he's trying to take an aggressive line, which every golfer did. It hits a
Are you
tree.
talking about the 81 the first round of the Colonial?
Yeah. He literally hits a tree, then it hits the cart path, lands on top of a bridge, and he has to hit it off a bridge, and saves par. And then the next one, he literally hits the ball past the hole, and then it rolls all the way back off the green. So like, he was just catching a bad break. I mean, do I think he would have won it? No. But do I still think he could have competed in that one? Yes. Like I said, obviously he's a PGA professional for a reason. But, he still has U.S. Open qualifying to look forward to, which he's made the finals for. So I still think the block party could continue. It's just he had to put it on hold because he had some issues to take care of at home.
It got shut down by the cops. Listen, he came back and shot a 74, right? But that 81, the opening round 81, he missed the cut. It's I don't know. like I said, just temporarily on hold, right? Maybe we'll get back to it. Maybe we won't. We'll find out.
Yeah, he needs some Pedialyte.
I mean, I saw something the other day. He went back to his home golf course, and he walked in, and there was, I forget what it was. Oh yeah, everybody that was in the clubhouse, he bought their food and their drinks for the day. It was in there, so it was kind of like a welcome home gift for all the people that've been supporting him. He came home and he bought all their drinks and all their stuff, and he played a free round with a kid that was like 8 years older. It was his first time playing golf, and he walked with him for a full 18 holes and played with him. So
that's cool. Great guy, great story. Listen, we don't want the block party to be over. We're rooting for him.
No doubt.
I'm the biggest Michael Block fan right now.
Absolutely. He's us, man. He's every man. You know what I mean? Like, it feels like he had as much chance to go out there and do that as we do. I don't have any chance to do anything on a golf course, but maybe lose a dozen balls. That's about it. Break a club or two.
He went from working, 5 days a week to, winning life-changing money by just, finishing 15th.
And I'm sure he'd tell you that what he was doing before didn't feel like work, but I'm sure what he's doing now feels even less like work.
Oh, for sure.
And sometimes I know the media, sometimes the media obligations can be tough if you're not used to that. So that might be a little bit of a strain on him too.
I don't know if you saw the clip of him after his first round at the PGA Championship, but he goes, I don't think there's anybody in this world that loves golf more than I do. He goes, I'm saying that including Tiger Woods, Rory McIlroy, Jordan Spieth, all these guys. He goes, none of them love golf as much as I do. He goes, I'm 46 years old. He goes, I should have given up on this sport a long time ago and given up on my chances of playing in a major tournament. He goes, I didn't because I love golf so much. He goes, that's what this sport means to me. And then he goes out there and wins $280,000.
Legend.
Talk about loving a sport. Like most guys would have given up at 30, 35.
No doubt.
He's 46. Almost. He might even be the same age as Tiger.
It's tough to let go. And when you're really good at a sport and you think you could catch a break, it's really tough to let go, man.
It is.
It is. And I'm glad he held on. I like I said, I couldn't be happier for the guy.
And I mean, like I mentioned last week, him and his older son both qualified for the finals of the U.S. Open qualifiers. So if they both, I forget what the cut is, but if they both make the cut in the fourth day, they'll both make the U.S. Open as a father-son duo. And
I'm rooting for that.
If he doesn't make it and his son does, I think I said this last week, he said he'll caddy for his son at the U.S. Open. That would be cool to see.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
That'd be cool to see.
Right. And talk about knowing your golfer too. I think they have a rapport there a little bit.
For sure.
They know each other.
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't want it to seem like we're bagging on him because I do want him to do well.
I do too.
It's just going to be incredibly tough, but that's okay. I mean, he might be the guy for the job.
And like I said last week, if it comes down to a tie between him and his son, he's going to let his son win, so his son gets the chance. Because he said, I already experienced it once. He goes, why should I get to do it twice when he can do it? So
that's what you do, right?
And that just shows you what type of person he is.
Yes.
Most guys would be like, no, I want the chance. He's like, but he goes, if I'm playing against my son, he goes, if it comes down to, a one playoff hole, he goes, I'm shanking the first ball 80 yards out of bounds. He goes, I'm letting my son win.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
like it.
I mean, if that's Tiger Woods is like, no, I'm winning.
Right. Yeah. Some guys have that competitive gene, and that's all. They can't switch it off, and I understand that too. The one thing I did want to say about Michael Block, I thought it was funny. He made a comment, when everything was going on, right?
Yeah.
Afterwards, I thought it was funny the comment that he made that if he hit the ball like Rory McIlroy, he'd be a really good player. It'd be tough to deal with. And I'm like, well, yeah. I mean,
right.
Yeah. I mean, if anybody hits the ball off the tee like that, they're going to be tough to deal with. If they have an average short game, right? Like that's all you have to do. And I thought that was a funny comment because, of course, like if I could run like, Usain Bolt, I'd be really fast, right? Like,
and like he said, like you said, a guy with an average short game, he has an excellent short game. So if you gave him an excellent driver, he'd be one of the best in the world.
That's why it's hard to put it all together. It's not easy. It's tough to have a complete game, especially golf. So much work goes into it. But we can move on. I want to get back to the NBA. We've got just a quick couple of minutes here. This is something I had to touch on because I know you guys probably haven't even heard of this next fella. There's a guy called Michael Jordan, okay? He had a team. This is back in the late 1800s. You guys would remember this, right? Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
He had a teammate, and his name was Scottie Pippen. And I don't know if you guys realize this, but apparently Scottie Pippen taught Michael Jordan everything he knows about playing basketball. And I don't
Wow.
know, like, listen, man, did you guys hear about what's going on with Scottie Pippen, man?
I just think he's trying to give attention to himself.
Is he does he not realize that, like, he's got an amazing legacy in this game? Like, he has left behind an amazing legacy. He doesn't have to do this self-promotion to where self-promotion is one thing. Listen, I have an idea. Let's just go to the tape. Scottie Pippen said some things on a podcast this weekend, and we couldn't resist here. We put together a little package of maybe what Jordan's responses might have been to some of these things that Pippen said. Let's just roll the tape and take a look at it.
LeBron will be the greatest statistical guy to ever play the game of basketball.
Okay.
And there's no comparison to him. None.
I took offense to that.
So, does that make him the greatest player to ever play the game? I'll leave that out for debating because I don't believe that there's a great player because our game is a team game and one player can't do it. Like, I seen Michael Jordan play before I came to play with the Bulls. You guys seen him play. He's a horrible player.
So for him to say that is offensive to the way that I approach the game.
He was horrible to play with.
You gonna do this? Okay, fine.
He was all one-on-one. He's shooting bad shots. And all of a sudden, we become a team and we start winning. Everybody forgot who he was.
Really? Oh, so that's how you're gonna play it. That's all I needed. That's all I needed for him to do that. And it became personal with me.
I don't know what to say, man. Like, Pippen said Jordan was what? He said what?
Yeah,
he was a horrible player?
That's a terrible take.
He said that? He said that. Like, he said
yeah,
that.
That's just a terrible take. If you want to say he wasn't a great team player back then, I could have got with that, maybe. But
he didn't have a great team. I mean, what was he supposed to do? By the way, the year that Pippen's talking about, Jordan averaged 37.1 points per game.
I'm not hearing the not great team stuff. You lost in the first round every year and got swept twice without Scottie Pippen. I'm not hearing it. If you're the greatest player ever, win at least one series.
Okay.
For me, please. All right. You went 30 and 52 one year and made the playoffs. I'm not trying to hear it.
Ooh, okay.
But I'm saying
if
point. Scottie's calling him bad because he didn't take his team to the finals, that makes no sense because the team wasn't that great. But if you're saying, like, I don't know, Jordan could have done more, you know, they could have got past the first round once without Scottie and Horace Grant.
Yeah. Listen. Part of that I agree with when he said LeBron is the best statistical player to ever play the game.
Statistical. It's just he should have just said best.
Yeah. I mean, well, listen. I mean, no one's. He's at the top of the scoring list, and he's what, 4th in assists. I mean, no one is even close. Man, come on. Who just he sounds like Morgan Freeman a little bit. Listen, it's time to start making some money for Scottie Pippen then, because if you got Morgan Freeman's voice, that's gold, I think. I don't know about those takes, but the voice could be gold. Ben, what do you think, man? You've heard of this guy, Michael Jordan. You think he was horrible?
Like Aidan said, I don't think he was obviously he wasn't horrible, but obviously, you know, we know what happened without, you know, Scottie Pippen. And
yeah.
I don't know if you guys have seen the stats. I saw a post the other day on Instagram that every finals Jordan, Pippen were in together, only stat that Jordan led in was points scored. Pippen and Rodman or Pippen and somebody else led in assists, rebounds, steals, blocks, all that kind of stuff. Only thing Jordan led in was points, and the other, you know, he let the other guys do the dirty work.
Okay.
So
best supporting cast. We'll just pick a random 95 Bulls or 96 Bulls, we'll say, or 16 Cavs.
So 96 Bulls.
96 Bulls because LeBron led in every single stat.
Here's the thing. The comparisons for these players, Scottie Pippen's comparison is like to the new age players, Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah.
Dennis Rodman's Draymond Green. If you give LeBron James prime Kawhi Leonard and prime Draymond Green, then what are you saying?
Yeah, I mean, Robin didn't quite distribute that much, and he didn't score like Draymond, but he's that kind of force. I mean, I agree with that. Yeah,
Rebounding defensively, right? So
so
what
the
I'm saying,
lightning rod too. I mean, he took all the
the
controversy.
lightning rod took all the controversy.
Mhm.
So supporting cast wise, it's really like
It's the Bulls.
it's the Bulls. I'm the only comparable supporting cast is the 2017 and 18 Warriors with Steph, KD, Draymond, Iguodala, Clay, Sean Livingston off the bench. You know, guys like that. Like it's just ridiculous. Like
Talking
that.
about oh gosh,
Like playing against those teams is ridiculous, right? So
If they had lost that year,
the better supporting cast is Mike's team, no doubt about it.
yeah.
Where does Kyrie rank all time? Not as high as Scottie Pippen, not as high as Dennis Rodman, even probably. Kevin Love, probably not as close to either of those two either.
No.
So what are we comparing it to, really, at the end of the day? But that that doesn't matter too much to me. Obviously, you need a team to win. Just who had more impact on the game overall.
Yeah.
But Jordan, like I say all this and I make fun of Jordan all the time, like to make the jokes and everything. He's the second best player of all time to me. Like some people are like, oh, you're disrespecting Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
He's better than everybody else except
pretty good consolation prize. I mean, you're not trashing him. I think that people get so emotional about that, and I don't understand why.
Like like obviously I'll make the jokes. If Scottie wasn't there, what's Michael Jordan, DeMar DeRozan, with the ball head? But that's not what I really think.
We know that's not true, right? We know that's not true. It's a joke.
It's just funny to say stuff like that.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, these guys are all great players.
Yeah.
Do I think one's a more complete player than the other? Yeah, one's number one on the scoring list all time, shot it better from three and from the field than the other guy, and also is top 5 in assists all time. I'm going to take that guy at the end of the day.
Take that guy.
Look, Jeff Van Gundy said the last series they were playing, in the middle of the game, said LeBron James at 38 years old. This is what he says, LeBron James is the best defender against Nikola Jokic in this series. He's also the best defender against Jamal Murray in this series.
Yeah.
Who else is that versatile as an NBA defender?
By the way, he's 74 years old.
He's like 40. He's played extra 4 seasons of playoff games. So
yeah. He's 40 plus. He might as well be dead. Like, what is that?
Yeah. So all that stuff. Pippen's just mad because Michael Jordan's son dated Larsa Pippen. That's all that happened.
There you go. So we're upset about that.
Like this, Jordan had to leave basketball for 2 years.
All right.
No. I'm arguing against you. I'm saying Jordan had to leave basketball because he was getting older, whereas LeBron,
he didn't leave basketball because he got older. He had a problem. He had an addiction, a gambling addiction. And they told him to take a break.
Listen, I have an addiction to this show, and no one has a better supporting cast than us, but we got to get out of here, man. We're almost an hour in. It's been another episode of Come On Ref. It's been a fun one, man. We actually had some little bit of heated discussion today. We actually disagreed on a couple of things, I think. I don't know if it was heated, but we disagreed on little things. But for my co-hosts, Aidan Vance, Ben Bales, I'm Chad Bryan. Thank you guys so much for watching. It's been another episode of Come On Ref. See you next time. Thanks, fellas.
Peace.